There are a couple big red flags when you're joining, I would say, a group practice, but also going solo. The first red flag in going solo is not really understanding the business. Like what is the goals? Like, how much money do I need to make? How many clients do I need to see? What's the typical rate charged? What can my specialty, my niche or my specialty bring? Like having those answers and then understanding like how long does that take to get to a break even point, to a point where you're making money. And some of you are falling asleep right now, and I'm saying that's a red flag. You need to figure that out, not just dismiss it, because I've actually seen, unfortunately, and I've had some folks that I've heard the stories that they went into private practice without having those answers. And even though maybe they were doing some of the right things, they weren't doing all the right things that they could have done to give themselves a really good chance to succeed. And they just kind of ran out of runway. They ran out of money. They ran out of time. And then they had to go back and get, a different job. And that's not, nothing to keep you afraid of starting a private practice, but just, asking those questions so that you have the right answers. And if your eyes glaze over when I talk about that, that's okay, but you can't stop there. You got to force yourself to go through and write that down on, some people are old school like me and they want to write things down on paper. Other people, want to do something digitally, but I want you to do that. And I've got a checklist and a course on Help for Counselors. If you go to helpforcounselors.com, you subscribe to our email, I send out some of these tips to you, but you have to consider that a red flag. If you don't know those answers, then you need to do that before you go about starting your own private practice. I'd say another red flag would be when you're joining a group practice and, well, number one, if the pay is low, then that's never a good sign. Like sometimes people are so desperate to get out of their current position, they take a job in a group practice, where they're being paid as a 1099 and it's really low. It's like 50% or 60% or something like that. And it's a W-2 position, but it's low. It's like $45 a clinical hour or something. And they're not thinking about how many clients they'd have to see to actually make money to pay their rent. It's like, you can't live on that. So those should be the things that jump out to you when joining either a group private practice that's either 1099 or W-2. Is just like, what is the pay? And if I saw X number of clients, how much would I have enough to live on? Like, do the math. The second red flag would be if they have anything in there, especially on a 1099, that's a W-2 makes sense, but on a 1099, that's a non-compete. You can't work anywhere else or anything like that. That's a no-go. Don't work there. I'm not even sure if, with recent court rulings, this is 2024, if that's even legal, but people put all kinds of things in a contract. I went down on Scientology rabbit hole. They have people join Scientology, they sign a billion-year contract. I'm not sure that, that's going to hold up in court if you try to leave Scientology, but they're very litigious. So those are red flags. So there are people in the practice and they're struggling to get by financially because the pay is low, or they want to restrict your ability to go and get another job or work a second job, which you're definitely going to need if you're not getting paid well. So those are the obvious red flags, but I see sometimes people joining private practices where the pay is frankly low. And you got to be able to live. That would be the biggest one. And then the second one is those 1099s with a non-compete. And even a W-2, I mean, if they're not paying you well enough, how can you sign a non-compete to a job that's essentially part-time? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me if they're not giving you a livable wage. If it's a W-2 job where they're paying you enough that you have money and time to take a vacation, okay, that makes sense. But if it's not a guaranteed salary W-2 position, then I might hesitate on that as well. I hope this was helpful. Hope you like and subscribe to Help for Counselors, and make a comment below or ask me questions so that I know what kind of videos to make going forward. Thanks.